you for your beautiful hands. Yeah, so let's get started, y'all. Yes. So once again, everyone, welcome. This is the Artist Blueprint. My name is Kymani Jade, Kymani Jade for short, and this is one of two of my latest live series. This one is an opportunity for us to explore arts, culture, holistic wellness, and the politics of healing with featured artists, cultural innovators, activists, arts activists, so artivists in particular, arts educators, administrators, and all those in between and beyond whose work is rooted in social justice. I love it, Kanene. Okay, so
where is it? It is rooted.
It is rooted in social justice, rooted in social justice. So today is episode 4. Thank you again. I can't tell you too many times. Thank you again for staying with us. Today, we're bringing you Black solutions for the win in the aftermath of the elections and the results, Biden and Harris in the House. So I'm going to be welcoming you. So welcoming you to meet Kanene Ayo Holder. Am I saying it right? Ayo Holder?
Got it right. Black solutions, Black solutions. What are the solutions? Yes.
Black solutions for our community. All right, so we're gonna have a candid conversation. We're gonna talk about the blueprint for her artistry, but also we're gonna delve into a conversation about the Black agenda, what winning looks like for Black people, and the power of humor to heal the racial divide. But before we begin, as per usual, I have to take a moment to acknowledge the land. I am giving honor and gratitude to the land that I currently reside on. I believe that's the area here in Harlem, Washington Heights, and it is the traditional land of the Lenape and Wappinger communities. So I give and pay my respects and thanks to them, their elders, their future, and of course, the spirit of the land for welcoming and holding us. And if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about the land you reside on and the original people of your region, I'm gonna drop a helpful link into the comments for you. You can check out the Canadian website, let me just make sure I have it, Native Land Digital. It's a Canadian Indigenous-led not-for-profit organization. And you can find them at native-land.ca. But I'm gonna be dropping a lot of gems into the comments along our conversation. So please make sure you are staying with us in the comments. Feel free to drop your own questions, lend us whatever information you have. We'll share it with everyone. I'll be sharing the information here on Facebook and on YouTube. This conversation, as you can see in the far right corner of your screen, is being brought to us by Zoom and restreamed on Facebook and YouTube Live, where it will be hosted for future viewing. All right, let's get this link up for you. And there may be a little bit of a delay on YouTube, but I will make sure you get all the goods as well. Once again, here is the link for Native Land Digital. All right, here we go. If you've made it into the live, let me get a little love. Go ahead and like the video, love the video. Let us know where you're coming in from, Harlem, Brooklyn. I see right now we got a little bit of love, 3 eyes on the prize. All right, let me pull this up for our YouTubers. Coming in from Harlem, Brooklyn. Also, please check out Kanene's page as well. She is on YouTube under Black Issues. So please check her out. You'll see that over in the corner of her video. She's got it pulled up. So before we go any further, I also want to acknowledge Grace Aniza Ali. She is one of my former professors at City College. Yeah, she's dope. She was a professor of mine. I took arts for social change across the Americas, and she was my professor there, but I know she also teaches at NYU, Tisch School of the Arts. And it was in her class where I birthed this entire concept. She had given us the artist blueprint to explore several different case studies of artists across, again, the Americas. And I just knew automatically this was something I wanted to do with the artists that I commune with. And so she is the founder, editorial director, and digital curator of Note magazine. The online magazine focuses on global artists using the arts as a catalyst for activism and social change. Please check that out. And yeah, remember, please leave your comments in the chat. So thank you again for joining us, everyone. I am Kymani Jade once more, artivist and educator, and I am passionate about the art and activism of the Pan-African movement, and so I am the creator of the New African Artivist movement. Now, NAM serves to create space for Black culture with transformative media and dynamic art, celebrating fiercely innovative visionaries who collectively occupy the making of the history and the destiny of the African diaspora. And today, like always, I am championing healing and transformative justice. And with me is, again, Kanene Ayo holder, an award-winning artist, comedian, diversity consultant, anti-racist personal trainer, educator, and founder of Black Issues, and so much more. Now, I'm going to go into a much longer bio for you so you can learn more about Kanene. But right now, let's just talk about how we met. So this is actually our first time meeting in person. Yes. Well, face to face rather. But I think it was last year, it was last year this time, November, December-ish, right? Was it? Mm-hmm. So yeah, right. It was like November, December-ish, probably in December. And we met through the New York Collective of Radical Educators listserv. I'm actually going to share their projects page in case you want to check that out and get involved. But Kanene, I'm sorry, I keep
Kanene or Kanene, it's totally fine.
Kanene, I'm going to go with that. Although I would love to get this Kanene right. But I told
like Canadian, not the DM, Canadian. Mm-hmm,
Canadian, Kanene. I love it. It's so beautiful. But I speak, look, see, I speak rather quickly, so I trip up on my own words. So please excuse me. Charge it to my mouth and not my heart, not my mind, my mouth.
Okay. Good. Your intentions are good.
They really are, and I appreciate you for recognizing that. I really do. But yeah, so your intentions are beautiful too. So you had generously shared an opportunity for students to come check out the public theater, and they were going to be able to see a live show that's usually done by. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about it? Because I'm not doing this well. Go ahead and share with us what the public theater is.
First of all, Kymani, I really appreciate, this is a huge honor. Thank you. Like your way of going about what you're doing in terms of focusing on art, the African diaspora, social justice, healing, acknowledging the ancestors, calling in their names and into the space. Beautiful. This is exactly how the world should continue to lean towards. All of the pillars and the values that you have showcased in the past like 4 or 5 minutes. Beautiful. Open, loving, glowing, appreciative of others. That's it. Rooted. We're rooted. Rooted.
Thank you.
I love it. So NICOR is New York Coalition of Radical Educators, and it's a huge listserv of probably over 20,000 at this point. It used to be 10, it's probably 20, maybe 30, maybe even 1 million at this point. I don't even know. Yeah. But it's a listserv of people specifically in New York that are like literally radical educators. And then other people are just so enthralled by the work that they do that other teachers who are not even in New York are also part of this listserv. And it's just like this collective online space for people to share opportunities, surveys, events that are happening, news specifically around, education reform, charter schools, budget cuts, different political candidates. It's like zip, 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 zip. And if you're not careful, like you can create an entire email just for NICOR's inbox, because like your inbox will be like on fire. Like it's a lot of stuff, not in a bad way, in like a really good enriching kind of a way. And so not anymore because of the pandemic and COVID. But at the time, I was a community engagement artist for the public theater, specifically in the division called the mobile unit. Right. So let me see if I can remember my little spiel. The mobile unit takes a play, a modern interpretation of a Shakespeare play to all 5 boroughs in community centers, prisons, and other non-conventional spaces, because the whole goal, the whole reason why the public theater is the public theater is because of the mobile unit, to bring theater to you. Now, mind you, let me not get in trouble. That's not exactly the spiel that I had, but pretty much that's the flavor. And like, yeah, hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome you know, all of this. And so I was the community engagement artist. So like I would introduce the play, like, all right, unpack all the themes and the issues that come up from the play. So at the time it was Measure for Measure. So it had to do with misogyny, power, envy, you know, abuse of power came up a lot. And so throughout the play, you know, the audience was like, oh, you know, and then afterwards we would have a discussion about it and ask these broad questions about, you know, what has changed in literally 400 years since the play was written, in terms of power, in terms of treatment of women, and what do we want to see in the future. So I reached out and said, so we have a set amount of tickets to give out to community organizations, youth centers and things like that. And I've worked with tons of, you know, I work with the Harlem Children's Zone, I work with a number of charter schools, I work with Schomburg, you know, I work all these different places. And so I was like, so I reached out to them and then I was like, let me also reach out to NICOR because it was like a lot of different nights and seats we needed to fill. And it was all free anyway. And so I just reached out and I was just like, here, if you want to come, email me. So you did.
I sure did. I jumped on that.
And now, like, look what happened. So I always believe in putting it out there, no matter what it is. Like, you never know how the one thing that you do can like set someone else on another trajectory, another path. Like that's how inspiration is. Like it doesn't come. It's not. Life is not linear. I think that's the beauty of, you know, if you believe in God or you believe in whatever the higher power is, that there's a divine design to life. And I'm just playing my part. And so my part is being as big and wide and as open and as generous and as excited and all these different things as possible, because I never know, you know, like, well, what happened to have this person come tell me this right now? And so I'm always like, well, I'm gonna give it back. I'm gonna give it back. I'm gonna give it back. Super, super, super duper, duper fast. So I graduated from Howard University. HU.
You know, I probably should do that. I didn't graduate from Howard. Go
what?
ahead. I said, you know, and then I said, I probably shouldn't do that. I didn't graduate from Howard.
Okay, it's fine.
Go ahead.
But you know what I'm saying? We had Chadwick, you know what I'm saying? We got Kamala now. So, you know, we're so good. We're just like, bring in the love, you know, and anybody can join it and tune in. So I graduated. So I was supposed to, so I never had any acting experience. I like didn't, and I had like double credits. I was doing like 19 credits and had like 2 or 3 part-time jobs all at the same time because I'm Caribbean, I'm Jamaican and Trinidadian, blah, blah, blah. And the first time, so like I was obsessed with Spike Lee, Bamboozle had just come out. And so Howard University was going to do what's called the Blackface Award. Don't ask. That's what it was called. But it was a Blackface Award to say that these people were able to tell a counter narrative to what it is to be Black in the media. Like instead of the stereotype, it was the total inverse. It's like, no, you're showing excellence. You're showing how amazing Black people are. Right. The Blackface Award. And so the first nominee was Spike Lee, and I'm from Brooklyn, and I was like, oh my God, I have to meet Spike. I whatever it is, I have to do it. Okay. And so it was to do theatrical renditions of all of his movies. So it's like a theatrical review. You know, like how like a Patti LaBelle or like Diana Ross, and then like every singer sings like a little snippet of one of her songs. It was like that, but for his movies. And so I was like, well, I want to do it. So I had just gotten senior semester. I was like, I had done all my credits. So I was like, oh, now I can just like take gym and electives. And so I had an acting class. Every time I did the acting class, every time I like was in class, like everyone was like, oh, what's Kanene gonna do? What's she gonna do? Oh my God. And everyone was like, you need your own show. You need your own show. So I had just done a poem. So I was writing poetry. I didn't know I was an artist. No, it was just things. It would just come to me. But I did not identify myself as an artist. It was just like, you know, whatever. And then the audition came, and right before that I had done, you know, this is when poetry, this is the early 2000s, this is when poetry was like everything, spoken word, right? So I went to Bar None on U Street. So anybody who knows DC, U Street is like this iconic street, just like 125th Street. And Bar None was like the place to be. And I sat there and I was gonna do my poem called Stop the Madness. Talking about chickens with their heads cut off, something about the status quo, I don't know, poetry.
Right.
And so I get up there and I'm gonna do my poem. Everybody, yeah, you know, snap it up, incense burning, you know, Erykah Badu listening, you know, all of that. And I get up there and I was obsessed with dreads. This is another story about how Bob Marley, it's like, you know, like how they do biology with the animal, like a little bird, and it's called imprinting. Like once they see this little baby birds or whatever, when they see the mother bird, then that's it. This imprinting, they're like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. So I was imprinted with Bob Marley. So then I was obsessed with dreads. Don't ask. And so there was like a taxonomy of dreads. There was Mufasa. There was Scar. Every dread on campus had a name.
Oh my goodness.
Don't ask.
Flashbacks.
Bob. It was all about Bob. It was all about Bob Marley, Bob. So here I am saying this poem, and here comes this light-skinned dread, way in the back with big hazel eyes, just probably really absorbing my poetry about Babylon. And so he's just looking like this, like, yeah. But all I saw was like these big hazel eyes and this beautiful halo of like locks. And I just like froze, which is the worst thing to do at a spoken word thing, because then what do they do? Oh, it's okay. You got it. That's the worst thing.
I know, trust me.
Just let me like find my own way. Don't treat me like I'm 2 years old with pigtails and I just fell and then I get up and then because I see everyone saying, oh, then I start to cry. You know what I'm saying? Like most times children don't mean to cry. They're just doing it because they see it. You got their attention. So now the whole crowd is like, oh, and I'm just like, oh. So I finished the poem like shaking, reading it off the napkin or whatever. It was ridiculous. And then I was like, well, I'm still gonna audition for Spike Lee. So here I am, like in Ira Aldrich Theater, this historic theater at Howard University. We're talking Ozzie Davis, we're talking Ruby D. Williams, we're talking Ruby D, we're talking Debbie Allen, we're talking Felicia Rashad, we're talking story like Howard, like School of Fine Arts. And everyone's downstairs waiting to be auditioned or whatever. And they're all like, and I'm looking at them like, what the hell are they doing? And so apparently they were in character. And so then they asked me, they're like, well, what monologue are you doing? And I goes, I'm gonna do my own poem. The same poem I just did last week. And they just looked at me like, okay, like whatever, like you're not gonna get this part, great, you know? And so I did it. I did Stop the Madness. I did my whole piece. And the first time I ever performed was in front of Spike Lee at Crampton Auditorium with 1,200 people.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, this is what I want. Like, and I didn't mess up. I was flawless. I was Rachel from School Days. And then, so that happened. And then like, I was supposed to graduate and like, I partied a lot, but for some reason, the week before I graduated, I think I was so grateful that I actually was going to graduate because all kind of craziness happened. But I just went on this like sojourn, on this just like solo, going to bars. It was weird. I wasn't partying with my friends. I was just going to bars by myself. And I met this woman. I swear to you, if I can find her, I think I was her name, Lydia. So Lydia saw me. So Lydia was literally probably like 35 and I'm like, what, 21. And she was quirky and had little glasses. And I guess she saw herself in me. And she came up to me, she started to talk to me. And she was just like, but you're here? She's like, but you're by yourself? I said, yeah. She was like, well, what is it you want to do? I was like, well, you know, I'm about to graduate and I have like this degree in speech pathology, but I really, really, really want to act. And I said, you know, I wrote all these poems and I auditioned with one of these poems and I'm about to cry. And I was like, you know, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And she was like, Whoopi Goldberg, one woman show, HBO. And that right there sent me on this trajectory. This random thing that this woman said to me in a bar on U Street on May whatever day, because May 12th was the day I graduated, I think in 2001. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And we stayed in contact on AOL. You know, my email address at that time was Trinity Jam Brooklyn, because again, I'm Trinidadian, I'm Jamaican, I'm from Brooklyn, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I guess when you switch from AOL to Hotmail and Hotmail to Gmail, I lost track with her. But that's all of that to say, I'm always like pop, because you never know when one little thing you say, one little thing you do, one little choice that you make can be like,
yeah,
for some Lydia.
And you are, speaking about Lydia, well, you're making Sharice's life lit right now. She is loving that you're from Jamaica representing. She said, who doesn't love the Spike Lee joint? She's loving all the references to Racial from School Days. This is definitely
you just want to be, yeah. Mm-hmm. I did the whole thing. Trying to be better than me. No, it was a whole thing. And then Frenchie, who's people probably already know from Rent, and she was on American Idol. Frenchie was my director and my acting coach at Howard. Mm-hmm. And so she'd be like, I don't believe you. Okay. And I would do it again and again and again. And I would rehearse. And when I got up on that stage, I was like, boom, God put me here. It's a wrap.
Yep. And God has taken you many places since. So I want to tell all of our viewers who you are, at least 3 paragraphs of a lifetime of amazingness. So bear with me. I can't give it to you all, but we're going to give you at least an hour and a half worth of it right here with Kanene now. So Kanene Ayo Holder is a bold and award-winning artist, activist, and educator dedicated to systemic change through critical analysis and community engagement. Since 2001, she strives to positively impact underserved schools and audiences to advocate for equity. She's been art department chair at a high school for LGBTQA youth, served as a community engagement artist for the public theater, and theater teacher at the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. As a diversity consultant, Ms. Holder's clients include the Red Cross, 1,000 leaders, staff, and volunteers, Hearst, the New York Times School, the Prospect Hill Foundation, Magna Global, an advertising firm, and others. Holder works at the intersection of criticality, the arts, media, literacy, and policy. She recently completed a fellowship at Columbia Law School with Broadway Advocacy Coalition to empower artists to create performances that address criminal justice issues. Prior to COVID-19, Ms. Holder produced Black Issue Issues, a satire about race relations at the Public Theater's Joe's Pub, and for SX South by Southwest EDU. Yes.
Yeah.
Miss, I really want to read the full bio. I'm gonna read your full bio.
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Holder won numerous awards in the arts, including from Franklin Furnace and Puffin Foundation, and for education, including 2 from National Endowment for the Humanities. She most recently completed a journalism and new media writing fellowship called Thread at Yale, produced a satire on race off-Broadway that was sold out, and completed a fellowship with the Fellowship for Utopian Practice on Streets named after slave owners in Brooklyn. Ms. Holder also performed at various venues, including Brooklyn Museum, to honor Sanford Biggers, Sag Harbor, Queens Museum, Shashama, what's that stand for? Shashama, and more. In classrooms and stages, she's codified a methodology called Intersections of Irony and Injustice, Race, Class, Gender, utilizing satire to analyze current societal ills through multidisciplinary projects triangulated with polling software. A passionate advocate for equality, she's completing Cornell University's Diversity Certificate Program, and her lectures on diversity were featured at Columbia University Teachers College Racial Literacy Roundtable, organized by Dr. Yolanda Sealy Ruiz, and also guest lectured at Columbia University as professor and New York Times bestselling author Dr. Chris Emden's class. Ms. Holder led lectures on racial narratives in fine art, featuring Derek Adams' Sanctuary at Mad Museum, as professional development for teachers, and also to prepare Studio Museum of Harlem's Teaching Artists program. Ms. Holder was featured in New York Times for her social justice satire, Searching for American Justice, The Pursuit of Happiness, and U.S. News and World Reports for incorporating hip hop into her curriculum. Holder's political commentary aired on media outlets including BBC and CNN, and most recently NPR. And her research has been published in the Colin Powell Policy Journal, Teaching Matters, Stories from Inside City Schools, Huffington Post, and Medium. Holder authored a racial justice curriculum based on Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me for Apollo Theater, which was picked up by HBO. Phenomenal artist. Phenomenal artist. You didn't know, but now you know. Phenomenal artist.
I'm listening to it too, like, okay. And I just now finally take myself seriously. You know, I think up until this point, like, I feel like I was in a hamster wheel, like, still proving to people, no, this, no, that. And I'm like, now it's like, okay, whatever. I don't have to prove anything to anybody.
Not at all.
So I'm listening to now, like, yeah, that's a boss ass bitch. And I'm like, oh, you know what? That's actually me. You know what I'm saying? And like before, I think it was still like a deficit, which is an interesting thing as a Black woman. Like, I've been in all those spaces. Okay, I've sat on the couch with Henry Kissinger. I've had 2 National Endowment for the Humanities fellowships, and I'm still feeling like I'm trying to prove things to people.
Yeah.
Bizarre. It's bizarre. And then there's people on Instagram, you know, posting cat videos that get millions of views. Mm-hmm. So at this point, I've divorced myself of all those metrics. I'm just like, you know what? It's me. So you could have that bio, and I don't mean you, but like, it could be that bio. It could be no bio. I think at this point, I'm happy to be alive. I cry every day, tears of joy for like anything. I wake up at 4:45 in the morning usually, and I'm on my rooftop looking at the sun, and I post that on Facebook. I literally post on Facebook the sunrise, and I say, how can we be the sun that radiates unconditionally?
How can we be this? Let me go ahead and type that in. That is a quotable. How can we be the sun that radiates unconditionally? So while I type this in, Kanene, can you tell us a little bit more about your art as far as your performing artistry and your character?
Sure. So do you
hold on one more time? Not to cross you. How can we radiate the sun and
how can we radiate like the sun and shine unconditionally?
Okay.
And that's for myself included, you know. I'm not always like this loving, happy, and you know, and the other side of me is very like, I'm a fire sign, so you know.
That's all of us.
But I try to, you know, it's like, well, don't take me there. Just keep me in Care Bear stare. Just keep me in Care Bear stare.
I say all the time, I'm like a Sour Patch Kid, you know.
You see?
Sweet till I'm not.
You know, My Little Pony. Goodness.
Right.
So, yeah. So, do you want me to do the Blexicon? Do you want me to do Rebecca? You tell me which one you want. Which one do you think people are ready for? Because
I want to see a little bit of your magic with Rebecca.
Okay, Rebecca's intense. So, okay, so I will become Rebecca. Let's see. What can we do as I become Rebecca?
Okay, well, I'll ask some questions along the way. So tell us a little bit about the full name of your character, what she's about, and what's her role in your work.
Okay, great. So, and I was going to play some music, but you know, YouTube will sit there and be like, you're playing copyrighted music. And by the time we sit there and look for uncopyrighted, so I'll just become her and that'll be it. Okay. So Black Issues is a satire for solutions, humor to heal the racial divide, laugh while you learn. And it's a satire for what did I say? A humor to heal the racial divide, laugh while you learn, a satire for solutions for racial inequality. Pop, 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 pop. Came up with this over 2 years ago. At the time, I had a collaborator, and but the idea for Black Issues I came up with because we were sitting at a cafe. Ironically, it was a white-owned cafe in Harlem, and I didn't want to go, but again, go where God tells you to go. So I'm sitting in the cafe, and we're trying. So it was a off-Broadway venue that I got accepted into to do a theater festival. And I hadn't performed in like 2 years. And at this time, I was like this fancy position called art department chair in the school in Soho, but it was still black and brown alphabet soup of can't read, can't write, can't spell, can't eat, can't sleep, whatever. And so, but I was like, you know what? Click. I submitted it, and they said yes to me. So I was like, oh, now I got to do a show.
Right.
So I got accepted into the Yale writing fellowship and got accepted into the off-Broadway theater and working a full-time job, and was like, how am I gonna pull this all together? And the day of the show was the last day of school. Oh, perfect. And of course, Kanene does what? She does all of this, because I live outside of my comfort zone. Outside of your comfort zone is the freedom and the liberation and everything that you seek. So I'm constantly like a fish flailing on the ship, just kind of fine, but just do it anyway.
Right.
So here we are in this white-owned cafe in Harlem, and I came up with all these different characters, but I was like, I want a through line. I don't want it to be like, I love Color Museum, but I didn't want it to be like vignettes. I wanted there to be some version of like, well, why do all of these crazy characters exist? What is their container? What is their intersection? Like what? Yeah. And so we're sitting there at the table, and I see one of those postcards for Vanity Fair. Mm-hmm. And you know how I say, like, say 33% off the cover price if you do the subscription in advance, whatever. So I say to my director, Aixa, and co-writer, and I was like, I wonder if Vanity Fair had a Black issue. What would they call it? Call it the Black issue. But Black people have issues. So it's the Black issues, because each issue of the Black Issues magazine is about a different Black issue.
Yep.
So I said, okay, so if there's this magazine called the Black Issues magazine, well, then we will become the magazine editors. And so each character in each like part of the show would be an issue. And then we would come out as the magazine editors and take furious notes. Oh yes, darlings. So is that what it is? So we had these huge, I don't know if I have it with me now, but it's ridiculous. I got these notepads that literally have like 400 pages, huge spiral, like the spirals are this big and it's this thick. And so it's just ridiculousness. And so we were like, oh, darling, oh, is that what that is? Is it the Blacks? Is that what they want? Oh my God. And so we would take furious notes. Oh, this is going to go, oh, this must be an issue. Oh, yes. Okay, this is the hottest issue, yes. It will fly off the shelves. So that was hilarious. So that was it. It was really just to put together this show. Mm-hmm. Black Issues, like the Black Issues was just, so that was it. It was just it was just a function of like a through line through the play to make the play kind of sort of make some kind of sense. So, but then I started to think about it. I was like, well, because this was ridiculous. So at that time, I usually do one-person shows, and then I started to do like ensemble. So it would be me and like maybe two other people, and I would call those two other people the chorus of chaos. So like in Greek theater where you have like this chorus that goes, whoa, 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 to kind of like amplify whatever's going on. So then I did that, and I did that at the Brooklyn Museum. But then, of course, because I'm absolutely out of my mind, I wanted to make the biggest show possible while I was working full time and going to the thread at Yale writing fellowship. So it was like a cast of like 10 people for this whole play. So I literally was like out of my mind. So I created all these different characters. One was called Signifying Nothing. This is my favorite character. He only talks in hashtags. Stay woke. Black Lives Matter. Hands up, don't shoot. And he sits with a whole bunch of emoji pillows, which we will talk about in a minute. And he sat there, and the audience didn't even know that he was a part of the play. They thought that he was just like some like person off the street, just like snuck into it because he was dressed in sweatpants. Because I'm making light of the fact that there's people who just sit around all day. They're just on social media. They eat fucking, excuse me, I don't want to curse, but they eat, children. I done said all these different places that I work for, so I gotta.
You're right.
Clean up a little bit, just a little bit. Don't encourage me, okay? Yeah. Gotta pay to keep this. Gotta pay for the balcony here. Right. The balcony. So, but yeah, making light of people who sit around all day, sweatpants, sweatsuit all day, eating children's breakfast cereal all day, and really not having anything beyond yo this, yo that, you're both blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what are you actually doing?
Yeah.
Oh, you signifying nothing.
Yeah.
So that became one of the characters, my favorite character, because it's the easiest one to write, but to me the most profound, because it's just hashtags.
Mm-hmm.
You know, take a knee.
Yeah.
That was it. That was literally that was the script. That was it.
Yes.
And so yeah, so then so that was like 10, it was like really ridiculous to pull that all off. But so since then, Rebecca has evolved. And so Rebecca, for the most part, still kind of sort of looked like me. Oh, and then they have atrocious fake British accents, because that was the only way for them to feel like they were taken seriously in Condé Nast. Because again, they were senior editors of Vogue and Vanity Fair. I mean, this is all a joke.
Sharice, jump back in really quickly.
Yeah.
Sharice wants to know if she can find the play anywhere she's interested in watching. If it's recorded or posted anywhere that she can check it out.
God bless you. So the one that I did at Joe's Pub is available. I have to find it.
Okay, I'll post your website in the meantime.
The website I haven't updated in like 2 years, so we're gonna have to talk about Kanene's GoFundMe and how Kanene.
Absolutely, and Patreon. But I'm gonna share it anyway because I think it has a lot of information. What do you think?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's there. It's just I haven't updated it. So yeah, because I need an intern, I need a whole team. Like Kanene's not really sleeping.
We get it. The ice life. Go ahead. I'm sorry to cross you.
Yeah. So what was I saying? So Rebecca. So they had atrocious British accent, because you know this is what you need to do to be Black and be taken seriously. You know, like Andre Leon Talley, right? Mm-hmm. So been doing the satire based on Vogue and Vanity Fair, Condé Nast for 2 years, and then George Floyd happens, and then then Andre Leon Talley comes out with his book, and then Anna Wintour is dragged through the coals, because again, Condé Nast and specifically Vogue is not diverse enough. And I'm like, I done did this almost 3 years ago now, 2.5 years ago. And so pretty much Rebecca had the fake British accent, and then so I guess I'll like gradually, become her.
Okay, go ahead. Transformation begins.
And so I thought that these would be like the best glasses to really, fashion. It's all about fashion.
Fashion.
The fashion. And so, for the most part, Rebecca really looked like Kanene. However, when I got called to host the cosplay showcase at the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture, I decided, well, because, as Rebecca, I go into different spaces, deep into the Blackness. Wherever the Blacks are, I want to go. I want to be there right with them. Yes, darlings. What is it? What is the issue, darling? What are you excited? What is it you do? What is it? What are your interests, darlings? Let me know. I want to be there right with you. I'm here with you. Yes. And so for the cosplay competition, I was like, well, I must dress up in some type of like cosplay regalia. And so I looked in my, luxurious, 2-tiered duplex walk-in closet and found this.
Yes.
And so this was really just to play homage to the cosplayers, the blacks, that do the cosplay. And I played with them. And so I decided to do them and be them, because that's what Rebecca does, to get to the issue so that she can publish that issue. And so I wore that there for them, the Black cosplayers. And then I thought to myself, well, Rebecca, this actually is the look. And so Rebecca always wears this now. She shows up this all the time. And so this is now my look. And, it might change, gradually I'll do different colors, different which is what I'm looking for, different blonde figurations starting. And speaking of that, why is it that I put the BL on top of words? Well, it is because in order to speak to the Blacks, because about me, Black, it's people ask, and I tell them I'm transnational, darlings. That is it. People ask me all the time, are you Black? I'm transnational. And so in order for me to talk to the Blacks, I came up with what I call the Blexicon. So the Blexicon is a Blackified language. It's a way in which to talk to the Blacks. It is where I think that Blacks talk to it because, I don't know, so this is my way of relating to them, the Blexicon. So blamazing, darling. Oh, you look blamazing. Kisses both sides. I love you, Black darlings. I love you. Yeah, it's the Blexicon. And so I do that, just, to relate to them, the Blacks. Yes. And so I do that. And let me see anything else now. And so now there's also Rebecca for the Blacks. So, I might run for office. We're still in talks about that for my web series. Yes. And so I might do, Rebecca for the Blacks. So voting is new Black, Rebecca for the Blacks. I was out in Harlem a few weeks ago, interviewing Blacks. So it was right there, deep on the east side of 125th Street, darlings. Oh, I was there. I was getting deep down into it. There was one of the Blacks, and he was selling the incense. That's yes. There's a Black one. Hold on, darlings. I'll even show you. I was so blonde. He gave it to me, I guess, as a token of his appreciation of our conversation. It's Black woman incense. Yes, he gave this to me. I've burnt a few. They're lovely. It's not quite opium from Calvin Klein, but I'll take it. I'll do it. And so, he was selling his incense and his rugs and such. And so he told me, I don't remember if it was 56 trillion years or 6 million years. I couldn't quite tell what he was saying, but something about they moved the moon, they separated the moon from the sun, the whites, I think he said something like that. And it's going to take the Blacks to wake up to that. And the Blacks, and so I asked him where the Blacks going to go, I don't know, but it's on baller alerts because Rebecca now is paired up. She needs to go even deeper into the Blackness. And so there's this urban landscape and baller alerts is very urban. And so now Rebecca also does content with baller alert and there's 6 million followers. Yes. And so baller alert sent me out there into the Blacks, into the 125th Streets. And so I was interviewing all of them. One was talking about anarchy. It's all kinds of different things that were coming up. And I do, this is what Rebecca does best. She goes there, deep into the Blackness.
So I want to hear a little bit more about Rebecca's and Kanene's activism. So how would you define your activism first and foremost? And what issues do you tackle, especially when you're with the Blacks? What's your word, confronting?
Okay, so I actually love looking at myself as Rebecca. I mean, it is just so much fun. It's a hoot, but I'm gonna turn. I'm certified.
Kanene is back.
Certified out. I've always been this way. I don't care. It could be one person watching. It could be 90 people watching. I am at home performing. And it could be, again, I just did the Red Cross, the American Red Cross, myself.
Yeah.
1,000 people on Zoom. And it could have been 1 million people. It could have been Madison Square Garden totally completely sold out. I am ready for it all.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love performing. I love giving. And it just comes and comes and comes. So thank you all for that.
Love in the comments too.
What happened?
I said you're getting so much love in the comment section too.
Okay. Because there is a little part of me. It's just I don't know. Do people get it? I don't know, but I don't care because my joy is beyond my comfort zone. So I still do it. So yeah, I love doing with Rebecca. It's just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So it's playing on Black bouginess. It's playing on this whole I am here, I'm up here, you're down here. It's playing on gatekeeping. It's playing on, Black people who don't embrace their Blackness because they equate Blackness with weakness or some type of other pathology. Mm-hmm. So all of that is playing into Rebecca.
Right. Yeah.
Because she forgot what it is to be Black. Because she couldn't be Black and navigate Condé Nast to be the senior editor. So
Exactly.
all of that is in this like ridiculous, hyperludinated, frivolous character. So we want to talk about the lexicon now?
Yes, but I want to first address that you do go to the street. You do take your art into public spaces, and
Yeah.
what's the importance of taking it to the streets?
Oh yeah. So I did Rebecca at Times Square for the Biden Harris announcement. Oh my, and I was in my head, like, do I even want to go? Like, Kanene, like, you don't even have that many subscribers and followers. And I just did it anyway. Like, I was in my head because of whatever personal things were going on in my life.
Yeah.
And I was just like, nope, still gonna do it. And I went out there without a team, into Times Square without a team, this heavy tripod and my iPad. Like, usually I have at least one person with me, usually my photographer. I had nobody. So I was literally out there performing Rebecca, chasing down photographers. Thousands of pictures were taken of me, chasing down photographers, giving them business cards, telling them, yo, I need my pictures. Like, I was sweating.
Yeah.
But I did it, and I interviewed, and I had to, again, fundraise because I need help with editors. I need to edit it because, like, I literally was on Facebook Live and I interviewed a python. This man was out there with this 18-foot python. Like, I was with drag racers because the hood found out that Biden won. And so they were out there with their low rider cars that like put all this exhaust. And Rebecca was, oh yes, darling, this is an exclusive. Oh yes, exactly. Oh yes.
Right. Yeah.
So it's really, really fun. I watch like little children will like look at me as Rebecca and like smile. So it's kind of like I'm a clown, but in this like very spiritual way. And so years ago, I've been doing public art, like on trains, not as much as on trains, but I have done it on trains. I've done Rebecca on trains. It's fun. Yeah. So I've done it on trains. Years ago, this is when I was really like, I'm way more toned down now. I think I'm like totally calm and toned down. I'm not, but like before, oh my goodness, I used to walk around with pink eyebrows, 2 different color sandals. This is before Lady Gaga was Lady Gaga, before Nicki Minaj. Like, I was just like, who cares? So I used to walk around with bells around my waist. There was a summer that I walked around with bells around my waist the entire summer. And I walked, and I was on Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard, aka 125th Street. And this woman with like a nose ring, and I think she was wearing all white, ran up to me, and she was like, yo, she's like, do you know who you are? And I'm looking at her like, okay, so you're crazy, and like, get out of my space. And she was like, no, you don't get it. She was like, you don't know your power. And I'm looking at her like, okay, this might be a spiritual conversation. Let me see what God wants me to know. She had this whole conversation with me. She was like, you are Legba. In the Orishas, I am Legba, the god of the crossroads. She was like, your ability to be able to take yourself seriously, but then at the same time, take yourself wholly, completely not seriously. And people are just like confused or trying to figure out, who is she? What is she? Because I literally walked around. All my friends would have to like yell above the bells. It was like a whole thing. Literally a whole, like several cowbells around my waist all summer. I think it was 24. And so she was like, you're a Legba. She was like, you have this power, you're the ultimate trickster. And I was like, okay. And she explained it to me. So Legba is the god of the crossroads. So Janus, the beginning and the end. Legba is it's the same concept. So Legba will walk down the story, the myth is that Legba will walk through the village, and for the side of the village that needs water, Legba would give them fire. And so everyone on that side would be like, no, we need water, we give them fire. Right. And for the side that needs fire, he would give them water. No, we don't need water, we need fire. And Legba would just go, and like watch all these people just like chaos, and just be like, and then the larger lesson is to always have in perspective who's in control, what is it you really need, how can you access your own power, all of that. So when you look at Kanye West, mental illness aside, he's Legba. When you look at Trump, Trump is Legba. These are all trickster gods. That's why Trump is still Trump. And every time we like look at him like, So the whole time I was like, okay, I already knew Trump was going to win, number one. And number two, the reason why Trump continues to be Trump is because we fall for it. He's literally giving fire for the side that needs water. And we keep, and again, this is not to belittle who he is and what he does, but specifically when it comes to the media, he doesn't need to be president. He controls the narrative. That's the most important thing to have power over. So even when Biden becomes president, Trump is still going to control the narrative. 70 million people voted for him. It's the best thing that could have happened to him outside of winning is to lose by such a slim margin. What? He's already fundraising out the wazoo.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. He controls it and he's the ultimate trickster. So anyway, so when she told me that, I was like, oh, you know, like that meme with the guy that goes, oh, you know, oh. So I was like, oh, that's what I do. That's what I am, because this just comes naturally to me. So I've done Rebleka in the streets, and people will come up to me begging for my autograph. Exactly. The whole point of Rebleka, and I've done this before, I had another character called American Justice. So it's this whole notion of paparazzi, this whole notion of fame, this whole notion of like this veneer of taking yourself seriously, but really you're not. And like once you look past that, it's like, what are we really even looking at? So that is operational in Rebleka. And the irony is that it actually is, like I've actually manifested it. Like I actually have like actual paparazzi. I actually have, as Rebleka, like cameras following me around, like cameras. I just don't even have time. I need an intern. Like literally, if I showed you my phone right now, there's like hundreds of pictures, just as me in Times Square. And then it got on NPR. So that tells me like, maybe it doesn't matter if you don't have a team. It doesn't matter if you like are exhausted. Go. You never know what's going to happen. And I got NPR. Pop.
There's meaning in all of this. It truly is. It's deeper than we all know in the moment, at least.
Yeah. So I love performing. I've done Rebleka in Grand Central Station. Like literally, I've done plane, you know, and people literally run up to me, little children who run up to me. And it's like they, you know, because I love children. Watch me cry again. I was an only child for 8.5 years. So I was just obsessed. I just loved the concept of childhood. And I was just like, oh my God. So like I get children, because children will look at you like, oh, wow. They'll be like, is that real? Yeah. You know, this little suspension of reality. So they'll literally look at me as Rebleka like, what's going on? But in the way of like, I want to play. And it's just being really playful, you know? So again, it can come off very surface, like, oh, she's just this fabulous character. Oh, she might actually be famous. I just want to take a picture with her. Or it's like, oh shit, like she's really like excavating all these demons that is our hyper celebrity industrial complex, our lack of diversity in the media and fashion industry, all of that is Rebleka. And I'm having a blast the whole time. The whole time I'm just cracking up.
So you've also formulated your own lexicon, and you've coined a number of terms. Blexicon, your Blexicon, Black lexicon, right? So let's delve more into where all of this gets its meaning. I want to look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different terms, or about 7 terms, right? Okay, so blagedy. Can you tell us about what blagedy is? Do you have them all?
Yeah, I have them all.
Okay.
So can I do it in order, because I already have them on my phone? Let me just turn down the brightness. All right. So basically, whiteness asserts itself, right, and is basically omnipotent, right? Well, not omnipotent. Whiteness is omnipresent. It's in everything. Why are you on my dollar bill? Why I got to see this white man just for me to sit there and pay for my maxi pads? Like, why? Why are all these streets named after white people? Why is everything the default white? The goddamn emojis too, white. Nah, don't be selling me no white emojis. I can't stand it. I be telling my friends, like, stop it, androids. Stop it. No one can see it. So I was like, well, what if the converse were true? What if instead of it being whiteness inserting itself and centering itself, what if blackness did? So that's why I just came up with the lexicon. And it's not supposed to make sense. You can put BL on any word, and if you mess up, good, because it's not supposed to, because whiteness inserting itself don't make no sense. So inserting blackness, great. It shouldn't make sense. It's just sloppy, because it's just to highlight the sloppiness of the white insurrection. Yep. So here you go. So this is black. Let me turn the brightness even more. Okay, great. So this is blackapathy, being black and apathetic because keeping hope alive is killing you softly. I think that's clear. Do you think I should do it on my phone or my iPad? Does it matter? iPad is bigger. Hold on a minute here. Hold on. I have these devices, courtesy of people who have, up until now, donated to my Cash App. Black Issues Issues Cash App, Black Issues Issues Venmo, Black Issues Issues at gmail.com for PayPal. I've learned from these little millennials, you know what I'm saying? Because like for us, like people of a certain generation, that's like so tacky. But I'm like, you know what? They're right. Why be coy about it? It's like you're putting up content, you want to get paid, you want to blow up. So Black Issues Issues Black Issues Issues Cash App, Black Issues Issues Venmo, Black Issues Issues PayPal, all of that. Hold on a minute. Hold on, because it helps, because the donations allow me to get several iPads so that I can be projecting things as I'm performing.
You said PayPal, Cash App, and which other ones?
And the GoFundMe. I'll text you the link to that in a second. Hold on. Got to turn down the brightness. Let me see here. Oh yeah, this is better. You can kind of see like a whole bunch of smudges, but whatever. So this is blackapathy. I think it's going to be inverse, but people will get it. So this is blackapathy, being black and apathetic because keeping hope alive is killing you softly. So that is a phenomenon where Black people are like, I'm not voting Democrat, or I'm not voting at all. You know, they feel like, you know, that's not it. That's actually your pain. That's your pain, and your knowledge, your supreme knowledge of knowing that our issues are never addressed. Our Black issues are never addressed. So it's not simply like the people who are not voting are just ignorant and you can just dismiss them. It's just blackapathy, right? So excellence, obviously, I can change it to do
a little bit because it keeps catching your stealing light. There you go.
So boom. So I guess you'll see that and not really my face. Great. So this is Blackcellence, right? So we'll do that, and then we'll do Kamala Harris. Stop it. Then the next one is woke washing. So this is when institutions and oh great, so now you see the reflection because it's Black, it doesn't matter. Woke washing is when institutions and individuals act like they care about social justice issues when they really want your money or your vote, or in the case of the NFL, they want you to start watching football again, right? Okay, so what do we need to do for the Blacks? We need to put Black Lives Matter in the end zone. All right, do it, paint it. And racism in the end zone. All right, do it, paint it, do it. You just need them to watch again and forget about Kaepernick and go, you know, Black to normal. So my brand is Seriously Silly. So I'm as serious as I am silly about everything that's going on. Obviously, this is the original logo for Black Issues Issues, which I designed myself in Canva. I am terrified. I can't even fold a piece of paper in half. I'm such a perfectionist that I would get all kinds of anxiety. But somehow God, again, puts people in your life. And so I met this gentleman at an event at Windows headquarters. And he was just really cool. And he was just like, gave me all this information. He was like, oh, you want to do your own show? He was like, use Canva. Yep. And yeah, and so I designed, so once I came up with the concept of Black Issues Issues, I designed this logo. So as you can see, people look at me like it's Black Issues, as if I don't know, like.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
My brand.
Even if it did, it's your work.
I say it's Black Issues, and you see other issues, just trust that I might know what I am talking about. Okay, thank you. Right. So the reason why it's Black Issues and not issues is because there's so many issues, and I did this intentionally, that issues, you don't know when one issue begins and one issue ends because they're all impacting each other. So all of this was intentional. There's just so many issues. The lack of education, the lack of good food, the lead paint, it ends up being Freddie Gray banged up in the back of a truck, his head of the van, his head is almost severed and he's dead. So many issues, so that's that. So this is the Blackulator, right? Imagine if, this is fun. So imagine if there was a calculator to calculate 400 plus years of racial oppression. And so I actually created a character called the Blackulator who runs around just like Flavor Flav runs around with a clock, but he runs around with this exaggerated calculator. He's constantly calculating $10 trillion for, you know, whatever. So that's that. It's really fun. The Blackulator, now with receipts. All this I designed myself. And again, I am like, I was the director of arts, and it was like more like the performing arts, more so, you know. But I did manage the fine art because, again, like I've lectured at MAD, you know, at Museum of Art and Design. So I appreciate fine art. I just can't. Nanny can't. You know. But I was able to do all this. So then I was like, okay, what's the inverse? The converse of Black issues would be Black solutions. So what would that look like? And lean into that and meditate on that. Right? Instead of issues, like, well, let's channel that energy of solutions. So then there's this. Racism isn't just emotional, it is economic. So thinking about reparations, because a lot of times that's how white people are able to get out of talking about racism, is like, oh my God, you know, they're crying, or, you know, they feel like they're the victim. I'm like, okay, but who's getting paid? Mm-hmm. You still get more money than me. Mm. There's a wealth gap of $100,000. The average wealth of a Black person and the average wealth of a white person is $100,000 difference. So we don't want to hear that. And it would take 228 years by today's economic standards for us to catch up. So that's nice that you think it's all emotional. No, it's economic too. So let's talk about that. Right. In my New York accent. So then there's this one, this is the big one here, the Blagenda. The Black agenda. What does that even mean? Do we have one? Are there multiple Blagendas? Right. So that's a big one, because I did like viewer like watch parties for the election when it was 2019, 1619. It's our anniversary. So I was doing this before the 1619 project. I was already like on it as soon as 2019 hit, and then we did this hilarious video at the New York Times tent at Afropunk, where we actually like bowed down to them. It was like ridiculous. This Black History issues. It's on Instagram somewhere. Again, I need interns or people to help me edit because I'm exhausted. But yes, so that's that. Blexford, right? So when I do shows, so Black History shows, so I am Rebecca, and I'll be Rebecca, and it's ridiculous. And then I have the signifying nothing character, and I have the Blackulator character. There's also the Black academic. He's really fun. So he walks around with the elbow patch blazer. Well, according to this book, and according to this theorem, okay, because, you know, if you just read some more, okay, we could read ourselves and as liberation. So it's just like, again, these are all actual characters that actually live and breathe, and you can recognize them in your life. There's a Rebecca in your life as well, someone who's just bougie and just like ridiculous. Like, where'd you get that accent from? And then when you really look at them, it's like, you're just trying to figure out how to stay Black and alive just like me, but all of your issues have you showing up in the world like whatever. So it's kind of like Wizard of Oz. You know, if I only had a brain, if I only had a heart, I just need some oil. That's how all my characters are. You know, it's just they're all a little off or really off. So then there's Black Egg. You know, so the perpetuation of our pain and the profiting off of our pain with no solution in sight. So, so Breonna Taylor is on the cover of every magazine. Great. Okay, so Black Lives Matter is on the cover of Time magazine. Okay, yeah. So our pain, our performance of our pain makes all this money. Again, racism isn't just emotional, it is economic. So why is it our pain has magazines flying off the shelves? And I literally created Black issues. And what happened this summer? You actually had Black issues. The Black issue of Vanity Fair with Ta-Nehisi Coates, the Black issue of Time magazine with Pharrell Williams. Like, I've been doing this 2.5 years. Yeah. But it actually came true. Mm-hmm. Because they know it will sell anyway. It'll sell. Black pain sells. Mm-hmm. So that's Black Egg. So this Blurgent, I think this is people's favorite one. This in Blackulator. Black and urgent, blurgent, woo, woo, woo. So what is a blurgent issue? So what does that even mean, right? So why are our issues urgent? No, they're blurgent. So it's a subsector of urgency where our issues don't necessarily need to be addressed. And if there are, it's half-ass addressed, and it's like patchwork instead of like actually remediated. Yeah. Blurgent. And then this is just an alternate logo with you can find this on Google, like the timeline of racial oppression. And I would argue that we're back to red, that we were never in green. So, you know, so when I talk to my students, you know, I ask them like, well, you know, what color should the timeline be? Is it black? Is it black to red? Is it black to yellow? Is it still continuing to be green? You know, let me see if there's anything else here. Blagedy. So this is Black tragedy, you know. So Trayvon, Eric Gardner, all of that. And obviously the chains, you know, 400 plus years, you know, but when I used to teach years ago, I used to teach students about, you know, segregation and slavery and lynching. And I thought that was like it, and I'm doing my job teaching these kids all this stuff. And now I'm like, no. So there's a school that I used to teach at in Brooklyn that fired me. But now years later, when I went to visit, the parents were like, why'd you leave us? And I was like, I had to go. Okay, like I did what I had to do, dropped my bombs, you know, took my licks, deuces. So then years later, you implement the same thing that I said to do then. But guess what? I moved on from that. I'm not going to sit there and teach these children the perpetuation of pain. That the only trajectory of Blackness is victimhood for 400 years into the past, and 400 years into the future? Absolutely not. We are the arbiters of our own liberation, despite and regardless of all of the oppression and the hurdles that have been put in our way. Are you what? Nah. So yeah, I will sit there and teach them, look, this is what whiteness has constructed to hide from the fact that they too don't know who they are. Mm-hmm. But they're quicker to sit there and tell you that you can't be fully who you are before they can sit there and turn around and say to themselves, well, why am I the way I am? No. So I would do both and now. Like I would say, okay, so here's the history and here's what was done to you. And here are all these other people that are absolutely amazing, going Black into history, Black before European conquest. Like that to me is a full curriculum. Don't give me this Black history where it's just like, we were slaves and chains and whips and lynching. I'm on to the next, on to the next. So this is white right. You can kind of see it. Mm-hmm. So this is the notion of just like whiteness is right. Like, that's it. Just no explanation. And then there's probably two more.
Also that in decentering whiteness, we have to remember that white people often get the benefit of the doubt, even if they make a mistake and we don't.
Yes, exactly. I don't get the benefit of the doubt. So then I thought about since 1619. So who was a rebel since 1619? Who was woke before woke was woke? And so I would have like who was oppressed since 1619, obviously just to do it. So I'd have like whole discussions with my students. And I would use the iPad or screen or whatever and like flash them to have like points of discussion. So I would ask them like, for example, Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
Would you say that Harriet Tubman was a rebel? If you had a choice between rebel and woke, was Harriet Tubman woke or was Harriet Tubman a rebel? What do you think? And people in the comments too.
I would say Harriet Tubman was woke. I don't think she was a rebel. I think the reason why I say that is because I think that she wasn't a rebel. She may have had a rebel spirit though, but I think she just knew. I think that this was something she was called to do, and she was just awake to that.
Thank you. Let's see what people said in the comments as well. Did anybody respond? Was Harriet Tubman woke or rebel?
No, I'm not seeing any. No action. Where the people that at? Where y'all at, y'all?
You know, it's Friday night.
We'll be back. You know, they out here partying.
But Friday night, you paid. So okay, so let's do one more. Malcolm X. Mm-hmm. Do you think Malcolm X was more woke or a rebel?
I would say Malcolm was a rebel, which is weird, right? But yeah, I would say Malcolm was definitely a rebel because there were a lot of people who were woke at that time, but Malcolm definitely said, I'm going to go beyond everyone's standard of what Black liberation should look like. I don't want any peace. I want us to be honest. I want us to confront these issues head on. And I think a lot of people weren't comfortable with doing that yet. And mm-hmm. It was okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We could do more, right? So like the Black, and again, there's no right or wrong answer. you know, it's just an interesting thing to think about these same people in a different way. Like, oh, okay, right? So we could do it for the Black Panthers. We could do it for like all different types of like Black excellent activists, right? Blacktivists. So for me, rebel means that there's an aspect of the system.
Oh, wait, pause. We have Paul Leon Anderson. He said, I would say rebel because she took action. Talking about, who'd you say? Harriet Tubman.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. I would say rebel because she took action. She took action.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right, Paul.
So,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, Paul is absolutely amazing. And I thank Paul so much for tuning in. So the way I think about it, and again, there's no right or wrong answer, it's just an interesting conversation to have, you know? So for me, a rebel is someone who looks at the system, right? The status quo, and is like, nah, there's gotta be a different way. Pop. What do I need to do? And whatever action I need to take to be like, nah, nope, this is not it.
Right.
And when I think of woke, to me, someone who's woke is an architect of a new way of thinking about being Black in time and space.
Okay, I hear that.
No, so that woke is
it's a consciousness. Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, and so I think W.E.B. Du Bois with the talented 10th and double consciousness, woke. I think Malcolm X in terms of, you know, who taught you to hate yourself, woke. Yeah. I think, and again, it's not to say that someone who's woke is not a rebel, right? But I'm thinking about, well, what is their biggest lasting legacy and contribution? And so like for me, so let's say Dr. Martin Luther King. I think he was more, because civil disobedience was huge, but I don't think that is like core to Blackness, right? It's an aspect of a tactic that he used that we still use, but it's not like Black people universally are like, oh, we're just civil disobediencing ourselves all the time. I think with Dr. Martin Luther King, he was a rebel in the fact that he was like, we're going to march. we're not going to ride this bus, you know? So again, it's not a right or wrong answer. It's just interesting things to like think about, like, you know, our heroes. Did somebody else have a comment?
No, I'm just making sure I follow along. Just in case. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of activity from Sharice. Thank you, Sharice, for dropping in.
Hey.
Yes.
What is Sharice saying?
Anything? We got a thumbs up from Artistry TV. Let's see. This was some of the earlier comments she dropped. She was laughing at go wherever the Blacks are. She said she got it in reference to your character description. It's not letting me click on all the comments though, for some reason. Yeah.
It's glitchy.
Let me go ahead and refresh and see what we got.
I think that's it.
Yeah, it's not letting me see all the comments, just the top 1, 2, 3, 4. Not right now, at least. Well, let me look at YouTube and see. Yeah, that's it for now.
And so I also actually do partner with Baller Alert. And so I was up till like 2 a.m. on Fiverr finding somebody to do this for me. But I was like, if I'm gonna write an article about Kanye, Trump, and Ice Cube, I actually had this designed for the article. Hip hop legends gone wild, why rappers trust Trump. And when I went on Fiverr, I don't know if you all know, I put it here, pimped by Trump. You can't see because, yeah, pimped by Donald Trump. So, the inverse because the camera, but whatever, y'all can see it. So I don't know if you all know Axios. So Axios is this dope like news magazine, political news magazine. They did like the most incendiary interview of Trump a few months ago. That was like the most like explosive one. So I love Axios. I love what is it called? The Circus on Showtime. I'm like a big political wonk. And again, I had this like fellowship with Colin Powell for policy study, and I was like, yes. Because like I sit here and I'm watching the McLaughlin Group for years. Yeah. So Axios has this like really good way of doing the graphics for like Trump's head will come flying in here, and then people protesting will be back there, and they'll do all this like Photoshop stuff. So I had put on Fiverr, like, I want a flyer like that for my article, Hip Hop Legends Gone Wild, Why Rappers Touch Trump. And I had put the pictures, I Googled a picture of Ice Cube, a picture of 50 or whatever. And for some reason, Fiverr didn't let the request go through. And again, I'm like I stayed up all night. So this is by like 6 in the morning. I'm just like, my eyes are like bleeding. Like, why is this not happening? And then, so it didn't let me put up the request, but then it still suggested other artists that could do the work. So I'm looking at the artists, and a lot of the artists were like to do hip hop, these like, I don't want to say tacky, but these tacky, ridiculous, over the top hip hop promo flyers where some girl and her body part is like this. There's a bottle like that. You know what I'm saying? There's a gold chain like this, right? And it was like all of these like, and I was just like, but this is not what I want. I wanted this like very slick, neat. And I said, no, Kanene, this is actually perfect because you're doing it about hip hop. Right. So there goes God again, guiding me, past my frustration to show me, no, this is actually what you need. And this, perfect. Like, it got like over probably at least 400,000 views, thousands of comments.
Wow.
All over.
I'm gonna definitely have to share that link in the comments. So I can find it.
So excited to do it like that. So sometimes, again, like God will like point you in this other direction, and you just have to like go with it. The biggest show that I did that was kind of like performance, and God helped me for me to find the video to that, was in 2007. So this is when Obama was running for president. I was the youngest I think I was like the youngest artist to get Franklin Furnace, which is the only international performance art grants. Okay. And so they gave me this money, and this is with Aixa, my writing partner at the time, co-director or director, to commission me to do this piece. So it was like a public art piece in a window. So we basically decorated the entire window like Bergdorf Goodman's for Christmas, like Lord and Taylor, but it was all racist iconography. One of the biggest things of my life. And so we had, so Aixa designed this marquee that said blackface, but it was all in letters that looked like watermelon. And then we had Aunt Jemima, we had Uncle Ben, I had TVs upside down, replaying racist cartoons from Mickey Mouse and from Warner Brothers, from Bugs Bunny. And I had like an upside down map and an upside down American flag and caution tape. It looked like Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse, but in like this, like really like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you better not be doing drugs because you'll get scared kind of way. And people would come up. So it was all about this poem that I wrote back in college called Committing That Black on Black Crime, called Blackface. And it was all about my high school experience and how racist they were to me. They would say, well, don't you love that watermelon and that fried chicken? And aren't you gonna go down south to visit your Nana? And I was just like, my parents are from Trinidad and Jamaica, and we eat curry goat. Ew, curry goat, ew. So they were so racist. And like some of it I knew, but a lot of it I didn't know, because again, I grew up in Brooklyn in Flatbush, Caribbean. So I didn't know watermelon was like, whoa, like that is like a huge insult in the African American Black community. So some of these things I didn't know, until I went to Howard. So here I am at Howard, culture shock, because I had never really been around African Americans. Like, I watched on TV Jefferson's Good Times, Different Strokes, Benson, but I hadn't really, like, all my friends were where from Guyana, Trinidad, Barbados, St. Vincent. So I really never understood, I got the Black experience, like, James Brown, like I got all of that. I knew about slavery and stuff like that. But these other little nuances, like fried chicken, watermelon, like things like that and I was just 13 years old with a whole bunch of pimples, just generally confused. Like, why are they talking? Why are you at, like, some stuff I knew, like when they used to call me buckwheat, they used to say, ote. This is 1993 to 1997. So this is during the Crown Heights riots and during O.J. Simpson. So all of this is going on. The LA riots is going on, and they're just constantly being this blatantly racist to my face. And sometimes I knew, and sometimes I didn't know. Right. So I had graduated from college, and it's like one day it hit me. And I wrote this poem, and it was like 4 or 5 on a compact computer that ended up blowing up, by the way, it started sparking. But at the time, it just hit me. And I wrote this, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 page poem. And it rhymed perfectly for 4 or 5 pages of my entire experience being Black in that school. I'm committing that Black on Black crime called blackface in the wake of my regrettable Blackness. But now I shine brighter than the moon because I eclipsed the sun. I am as Black as I want to be, unapologetically me. Somebody stop me. Not like I could cry. I fucking sat down and I was like, what? It just hit me. Yeah. And then I took that poem, it was 2002, and I had that poem, and I had that poem, and I had that poem, and I had that poem. And then I put the poem, I had an audio person that recorded it. And then we had like a whole soundscape of sounds of monkeys, because they used to call me Monkey as well. Yeah. And like, so that would come in, it would be my voice, and it would be like different music from that time, because then 2 seconds later, they loved Wu-Tang. Mm-hmm. 2 seconds later, they loved Lost Boys. So here you are fetishizing and obsessing over Black culture, but at the same time, totally disrespecting me. Yeah. Totally. And then 2 seconds later, loving Bob Marley. Right. Quoting Bob Marley to me. I'm like, what? So all of that is in this poem. It's some hard drive somewhere. But all of that is in that poem, and it rhymes. Like literally, I just listen to God, and I just go, okay, and I'm just click. Okay, put on this wig or whatever it is. Like I just listen. I'm just like, okay, what do you want? What do you? And again, when I was at Howard, I didn't know I was an artist. This is like a new thing for me to think of that whole time that I was just like writing all these poems, didn't know. Yeah. So that was like a whole awakening. So when I did the show at, so that's at Chashama. Remember you were trying to pronounce Chashama? So the show at Chashama was committing that Black on Black crime called blackface. This is what I'm talking about. And so I dressed up as a little girl. Mm-hmm. Yep. Shock and awe with a political aftertaste. So I dressed up as a little girl because it was like, again, like I'm a child. So I'm not aware that these cartoons are racist. And I'm not aware that Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima are a problem. I'm a little girl. So people came up. Some people thought I was doing porn. They thought I was like doing, like fetish dress up porn. Some people thought that they were just like, oh my God, Mickey Mouse. Oh my God, Bugs Bunny. I love Bugs Bunny. Just didn't get it. And then some people got it. And then even Kara Walker came. So, and it got a write-up in the Village Voice twice. It became the cover of the Village Voice art section. Let me see if I have that. Again, me and my father's a much better publicist for me than I am for myself. Like, I'm a mess. Again, I need an intern. So, but yeah, that, and so again, I'm serious. I'm as serious as I am silly, and it's open up for interpretation, and that to me is also part of the art. People's inability to get it, people's ability to get it. All of that is interwoven into that is actually my aesthetic. The madness of, and that's why when you read the thing about the triangulation, so it literally is a triangulation of data, people, and their interpretation of it all. That's the intersection I'm talking about. And so then now I use polling software because I know that was in my bio. So it's like, what's she talking about, polling software? Yeah. So then now, because I'm really interested in how people perceive issues. So there's there's 2 services that I use. One is called Mentimeter. And so Mentimeter in real time, you can post like your thoughts. So I could say, I could do a word cloud. And I'm like, what words do you think about when you think about gentrification? And hilarious what comes up. Oh, absolutely hilarious. I love it. So I'm just trying to find if I can find a picture. And I had it earlier today, which is so funny, but of course now, no. It is
And I
what
just
it
wanted
is.
to spend a little time talking about the elections. We have
Yeah.
for about an hour and a half. So do you want to take, first I also want to hear from you about your self-care practices as an artist, you know?
Self-care. Haha. So self-care for me, I'm looking for like and I literally showed it earlier today. So again, intern.
Right.
Intern. So self-care for me is, well, one, I moved into this apartment and it was the biggest risk of my life. But I love it and I needed it. It's the biggest self-care ever. So I needed sunlight. I was in a garden apartment. Again, it sounds like I'm a victim, but I literally physiologically needed sun. It was 4.5 years of no sun, just looking at walls. But I needed the sun. So I have sun. I have tons of sun. The first week I just moved in here. And the first week I moved in here, I cried every day. I would just cry. And it was like literally like my third eye. I was like, sun!
Yeah.
Sun! You know, and I go up on the rooftop and I look at the sun. Sun. I'm a sun sign, and I'm a fire sign. Born in December. I need sun.
Oh,
so sun.
Happy early birthday.
Birthday's coming up.
Are you a Sag or a Capricorn?
I'm Sag, so I'm December 11.
Okay. In a month.
Mm-hmm. So, and 11 is apparently a master number. So it's coming up. It's coming up. So, so self-care for me is looking at the sun. It to me is the most centering thing. I look at it every morning, or I go up on the roof and I look at the roof. I look at the entire Manhattan, what is it, cityscape or whatever it's called. I can't think right now. I look at that. I soak in my tub. Oh, I mean, what I really do is I am obsessed. I have like a ridiculous amount of incense. I have a ridiculous amount of like essential oils. Oh, I mean, what I really do is I am obsessed. I've always loved crystals. Like, so I have tons of crystals. This is black obsidian, so dope. And now you can see my busted manicure. It is what it is. This is a moonstone.
Kanene, I have someone who's interested in your thoughts on the Black agenda. What is it to you? The Black agenda. What does it mean to you?
They don't care about my crystals.
Huh?
Okay, fine. They don't care about my crystals. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
Oh, no, I crystals. Yes, self-awareness. Yes, self-care crystals. I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss this comment because I think you might have been earlier.
Go. So the agenda.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to know the pictures, or do you want me to show them on my phone? You just let me know about the agenda and Biden.
What you want to do is let's finish up the conversation on your self-care practices and your crystals, and then we can jump in briefly on the articles that we read with regard to Biden and Black voters.
Yep, perfect. So, okay, great, whatever. Yeah, so I have a lot of crystals. Crystals are everything to me. And I've been obsessed with crystals since I was a child. I used to get crystal kits when I was a child, grow quartz, use borax, use salt, crystals. I have crystals on my keys. Yeah. This is amethyst, this is averantine and rose quartz.
Oh, wow.
My keys. This is pyrites, which is also called fool's gold, but it's gorgeous in its own right. This one, I forget what it's called, but it also has what's called labradescence. So it like shimmers a little bit. So I forgot what this one's called, but it's beautiful. I have sugarnite, which is like one of the oldest stones on the planet. And I have a whole bunch of crystals on my bracelets too, but I knew it would make a lot of noise, and so I didn't wear them. But no, I have tons of crystals. All my essential oils are on the other side, but like it's basically an apothecary in my apartment all the time. It's just basically just like, okay. Lavender, grapefruit, orange, all of it. Peppermint. Peppermint's probably like, people take peppermint for granted, but peppermint is actually very powerful. So I use peppermint a lot. Cloves, cinnamon. I mean, they're all there. They're literally in the living room. I burn candles. I now have flowers as well that are super cute, that I grow in here too. Yeah, and I go on my balcony and I just go, okay. Like I manifested this. You know, I have an amaryllis that's about to bloom right here. It's so cute. It's budding, like it's gonna bloom in like another 2 days. So all of that I do. I cook a lot. I make my food really pretty. Clearly not painting my nails regularly enough. I love sunglasses, so I'm always getting sunglasses. Self-care is also my haircuts. Okay, so you see here, this is precision. Okay, this is precision. And just prepare yourselves. Can you all see?
Love it. I love it.
So that is self-care. And then like, you know, just ridiculousness. You know, just absolute ridiculousness. This is now my necklace. So, you know, that's that. Yeah, so the sum total of me is now all wrapped into Rebecca because I'm obsessed about fashion. A lot of people are like, oh my God, she must do fashion. Or like they think that if I wear something fabulous that I made it. And I'm like, I don't make anything other than chaos. I have absolutely no patience to knit. I don't sew. No.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I make.
Chaos.
Mm-hmm. So the Blagenda, let's get it poppin'.
Yep.
So I did a Facebook Live months ago about the Lift Every Voice and Sing plan. This is before Biden was even like supposed to be, you know, president-elect or anything in between. And I read it and I wasn't impressed because to me it looked like you're gonna flood the Black community with money, right? And a lot of it was focused on money, like money to small businesses, money to schools, you know, money, flooding it with money. And I'm like, great. But something else that I've been talking about is what I call an anti-racist budget. If we can agree that America is systemically racist and we are paying our tax dollars are funding government agencies, government, you know, then we are actually funding systemic racism. Yeah. So it's basically taxation without representation. So when I looked at the Lift Every Voice and Sing plan, and I was just like, okay, so you're going to flood all this money into schools, you know, okay. But if the curriculum is still this racist, white centering curriculum, then what use is that? And then when I looked at specifically the police reform, it was only one paragraph. And I did this on Facebook Live months ago. And so I was just like, you know. So I think, you know, in terms of agenda, I think it you know, we need to make our issues need to be non-negotiable. Until our issues are non-negotiable, we're going to continue to have them. I want to have new issues. I want to have the issue of, well, where do we allocate all of this money that you've given to us? You know, well, where do I want to move on this new land that has been granted to us that isn't also a toxic dump? Because I heard about that. There's some land in Georgia or someplace that is now a new Black township, but it was like it's a toxic wasteland. You know, so I want to have new issues, right? I want to have new problems, not the same old problems that we've been having for over 400 years. Right. And so when I think of the Blagenda, there's things that need to be non-negotiable. We need to not have lead in our water. We need to not have lead in our paint, period, point blank, end of story. There needs to not be any more hyper-criminalization of people just because we are Black and following us around and hyper-sentencing us and taking away our right to vote and all the other things that is now, you know, standard practice. Right. So until that is just like baseline, you know, it's kind of like a manicure, you know what I'm saying? You just want plain, just give me plain. No, I don't need no glitter, no French manicure, no lines, no design. No. Right. Focus. Because you'll get caught up in thinking about the different designs, and then 2 seconds later, the design that you get falls off 2 days later. Because you're now focused on all this other stuff. When the basic, no, this is what I need. Yeah. Don't talk. This is what I need. Give it to me, and done. So we are caught up. And this is why the politicians do what they do, because it's a circus. They're constantly showing you like, oh, you know, oh, look at, oh, the police, well, we'll do something about that, okay? You know, we'll do a summer program for you, okay? Yeah, the schools, yeah, we'll hire more teachers, yeah. Yeah, we'll pump some money into the community, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, like, you know, like we'll have some therapy for you, some mental health care, yeah. And so before you like realize it, pigs are flying and nothing has actually been accomplished. And the new person's in office, right? And then you don't hear from them, and your issues just, the sum total of why we are here is because of 400 plus years of neglect, 400 plus years of our issues not being addressed, our issues being blurgent instead of urgent, period, if I'm gonna use my lexicon. So we have to then take account for all of it, including Obama, everybody, Clinton, Bush 2, Bush. Why are we here? Because again, I always think about Black issues as a relay race. And everybody's just dropping batons. We're just dropping, when it comes to Black, we're just dropping batons. There's no clean pass. It's just drop. And everybody else is running, and everybody else is doing their baton pass, and everyone's winning the race, and we're just, and the medal ceremony comes, bronze, gold, silver, and right. That's what that is. And when it comes to Black people, we're just dropping the batons, you know, and the band played on, and another election comes, and then here they come, you know, Black Lives Matter, so this is the dolls, this is another thing. Black Lives Matter, okay. Right, sure, you're gonna act like you care, right? And everyone's gonna get, these politicians are gonna get on their high horse, right? They come every 4 years, they get on their high horse and they say, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. So again, this is all a part of the Black Issues Made in America Serious to Silly Shit Show. So I do that too, where I use the emoji pillows that I use for signifying nothing, and you know, I got some more like the flying pig, which is my favorite. And you know, because it's all talk. It's all talk. Right.
Yeah.
So we're clear, you know, and I'm on this app called Clubhouse, and I might have some invites. It's exclusive app. It's invite only. It's this whole thing, but like literally everybody's on it. I just listened to Tyrese talk for like 20 minutes, dropping bombs, dropping nuggets. I was in a room because of baller alert. And literally I'm talking to like senior VPs at Def Jam, at Universal, at Atlantic, Angela Yee. That's how I spent last night, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, on the phone with them and just chilling, not work related, just cutting up, joking around, Clubhouse. So, you know, so I've been talking about that on Clubhouse too. And it's the same, we're getting these same things of like, what are the issues? What are the solutions? What are the issues? What are the solutions? We're all trying to figure this out, all of us. So I've been in these rooms with like one of the head of communication for the Biden campaign, met him on Clubhouse. Like, so these conversations are constantly happening. But I think the missing variable is Black unity.
Right.
Until we're, and that was what was happening. So like I did a room with Leo Smith, who was a Republican strategist, who's a Black man in Georgia. Mm-hmm. But again, the two-party system plays us for a fool too, because again, you got the Democrats, Black Lives Matter. You have the Republicans, all lives matter. And, we actually think something's happening.
Right.
We actually think something's happening. No, not for us. Yep. That's them. Again, there's still money being made, and it's not supposed to make sense. It's just supposed to make money. So we think that we have a horse, my horse, in this race. They're just doing what they do. And so then I'm on Clubhouse and the room for the Blagenda, and okay, so there isn't one Blagenda, there's multiple Blagendas. Okay, so then we're going to talk for 20 minutes about how there's multiple Blagendas. Really? Okay, well, let's do that. And while we're doing that, Trump done raised $200,000 because he's just like, by any means necessary, we can't have the Democrats take over the House and the Senate. So as we're sitting here continuing to parse the weeds and argue over the nuances and the granular of our issues and jockeying for position. Well, I have this organization and I have that organization. Oh, okay, all right. Okay, great. Awesome. Because we never had a title before. So now we're all fighting over our titles. We all want to be CEO. We all want I got a logo. I got a company. Okay. So as we get over the optics of that, they're winning. And wait, like don't count Trump and the Republicans and the fact that Trump he's having a pity party. Yeah, and so he's gonna run again. And even if he doesn't run again, he still has 70 million people who don't want to wear a mask, who don't want to pay taxes, who don't want universal health care. So, it's so much bigger than two-party system. And, again, I developed Black issues partially because how do Black people show up for each other when nobody white is around? What are our internal issues that are caused, again, right? So many issues. What are our issues that will probably cause more likely than not because of white supremacy and racial oppression and things like that? But to a certain degree, there's some things that we do that we don't need to be doing, but we do it anyway. And it's keeping us, again, the timeline. Because every time we as Black people are not unified and we drop the baton on the Blagenda, and then start this whole Blagendas and okay, you can add another 50 years to that timeline of oppression. Yep. And that's my goal. And again, I operate in a political space. I had the fellowship or whatever, not whatever, but I did, I'm really into policy, and my left brain, my right brain can totally butcher my left brain. And I could just stay this didactic policy, analysis person. I really could, but I really love being for Black. I really love all of this. Right. And so I'm constantly fighting between an idea in my head that's like policy, hardcore, serious, and then just being like totally out my mind, silly. Mm-hmm. But I think that what God put me here ultimately for was what that woman saw when she saw me walk down the street with bells around my waist, which is that I'm the trickster, I'm Legba, I'm fluid, I'm all, that. Mm-hmm. But we can sit there and to the Democrats, we can do that. But until we are unified, they're going to do it every time. They're going to divide and conquer, and it's going to be more crumbs. And we are going to be cookie monsters eating these crumbs. Mm-hmm. Biden, if you want to show the picture, if not, I can show it on my phone. But Biden said that, he has Black people's back because, he knows that we Black people delivered him to the White House, which is actually called the Executive Mansion. And I think it was Woodrow Wilson. I have to ask my friend because there's a history of it. And then when I Googled it, I couldn't find it. I wonder why. But it's actually the White House is actually called the Executive Mansion. But there was so the African American community stood up for me. You've always had my back. and I'll have yours. What does that even mean? That to me just was like a little throwaway line. Oh, I'll have yours. What does that even mean?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to have what? That's huge. Like that is not a one sentence type of thing. And my issues aren't just centrally located within the hive of police brutality. That's just one issue.
Right.
You still got education, you still got healthcare, you know, tons of other issues. And so what does that mean to have my back? And I don't know if Black people even know, you know, if we've been so conditioned and limited for us to even like say what we want. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be touching a Washington, a George Washington dollar bill. No, replace all those white faces with Black faces, period. You know what I'm saying? What does it mean to have my back? You want to ask Kanene Ayo Holder what it means to have have my back? What does that even mean? So, you know, when you look at Ice Cube and whatever the hell his vague platitudes were about Black people, you know, our agenda needs to be real succinct, real clear, and real like audacious. Because you know what's audacious? White supremacy. White supremacy and the entire system of racial oppression. That's real audacious. To sit there and say that you're supreme and I'm inferior, to sit there and lynch me, huh? To put me on a plantation for how many years? For hundreds of years? Right. To then systematically oppress me through redlining, to prevent me from having access to ownership of land? Interesting. To prevent me from having the vote until 1960, what? 1960 what? 1960 who? Oh, okay. There's still a whole generation of people who are still alive who were not able to vote for the majority of their adult lives. There's still people who are alive that can say that.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, when I think of Black issues, I am allergic. I'm like, boom, you know what I'm saying? Because what I talk about is what you don't know that you don't know. And I'm gonna pull this up in literally a second. You know, so what we don't know that we don't know about racism is worse than what we think. We are only reacting to what already has been put in place 20 years ago. This building that I'm sitting in now, that's all fancy, on 125th Street, Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard, they probably bid on this land back when I was running around with bells around my waist. So we're only reacting to what has already been built up, planned, how many years prior to. So what I'm saying is what we don't know that we don't know about racism is probably worse than we think. So this is one of the charts that I use when I do diversity trainings. What you know, what you know, you don't know, what you do know, you do know, and what you don't know, you don't know. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we reside in what we don't know that we don't know about a lot of things, and specifically around racism. I'm like, whatever it is that we don't know, it's not in our interest. So what am I doing now proactively in concert and in response to what I don't know is not in my interest? What I don't know that is attacking me, attacking what could come out of my womb, what is attacking the next 7 generations of Blackness. That's how I think. Yeah. Ha. You know, and until Black people show up like that, you could just add another 50 years to the timeline, because other communities are thinking that way and planning that way. And I get it, you know, like, again, I went to Howard University, I studied under Dr. Wade Boykin. So this whole critical race theory that people are talking about now, like that was like 2:00 every Tuesday and Thursday, you know what I'm saying, in class, psychology and the Black experience. So Black people, there's tenets of African-based cultures and there's tenets of European Anglo cultures. So tenets of African-based cultures, so tenets of whiteness include hypermaterialism, rugged individualism, competition, order and structure, you know, very rigid, right? So again, hip hop is hip hop. Hip hop could only have been an African-based culture because it's syncopation, it's call and response, it's verb, it's spontaneity. Those are all aspects of African-based cultures. Whiteness, well, this is what it makes, once I break it down, it will all make sense. Well, when you think of whiteness, you think of classical music, right? You stand there, there's a conductor. Why is a conductor there? To make sure that you are doing exactly what is on the paper. What is on the paper? The notes. You're not supposed to deviate from those notes. And they're in the exact same way. And you need to play that violin, and you need to play that piano, and everything is tuned prior to make sure it is perfect. When you look at tennis, same thing. There's an umpire. It's in, it's out. It's in, it's. I love analyzing whiteness. It's genius. I look at it, I'm like, oh, okay. But and once you see it, then you get it. Then everything makes sense. But if you don't get it and you don't see it, then you're just responding and reacting and getting emotional. Nah. Once you understand whiteness, it is clear as day. Crystal clear. Why the world is the way it is.
I hate to cut you off because you have so much to share. I really do. Thank you for bringing all of your magnificence to the Artist Blueprints. It's been a wonderful conversation, but we're about to wrap up. And before we do,
I forgot. This is the biggest star of my show.
Okay. Go ahead. I just want to make sure that people know how to follow you.
Yeah. So it's the Black Issues Made in America series, silly shit show. It is a shit show. So this is like my co-star, the poop emoji. I'm so silly. Yeah, so it's Black. I don't know if we have the links.
I have some of the links here. I have your website and your handle, your social media handle. That's all I have.
Great.
So I'm gonna post that so people know how to connect with you. And anything else
my GoFundMe.
Oh yeah.
This has been like great, you know.
Thank you so much for joining me for this conversation. I was excited to have you. And
I mean, this is a lot. It's just a lot. You know, we didn't even get to talk about locking up the Black vote, remember?
Yeah. I'd love for us to have another conversation though. It's been about 2 hours now, so I don't want to.
I didn't even know what time it is.
Yeah.
I was up on my own course.
Hold on, let me make sure I have your website. Oh yeah. Yep, exactly. Locking up the Black vote.
Really put the GoFundMe because my website has not been updated in like.
Right. Okay, did you send me the link for the GoFundMe?
Yep, I just texted it to you. It's really my Instagram. It's really my Instagram, and my GoFundMe is probably like the best way. Really, the Instagram. I treat my Instagram like my Instagram is my website at this point. I'm just like,
okay. So I shared that, and let me just share the GoFundMe too.
So self-care.
Yep.
I do my affirmations. I meditate. I'll probably look back at this video and be like, oh my God, I'm such a mess in the best way. Like, woo! Slap.
Well, that's good though. So yeah, what are some affirmations that are coming up for you right now? Because you always have a little gem to drop for us.
Oh, what now? What?
Some of the affirmations that are resonating with you in this moment that you'd want to share.
Right. So my goal is to entertain, engage, inform, and inspire millions of people. That's my alignment. That's how I show up in the world. And then I know when I did the Actually Curious last week, the empathy workout, right? I said, I trust you, I love you. Wait. I trust you, I love you. Help.
I know, I'm trying to remember where I put it because I wrote it down several times. I trust
you, I love you.
Dang, it's on my notebook.
I'm proud of you. It just takes too many words. So it wasn't that. It was like, I trust you, I love you.
Something, let's go. Was it like, let's go? Did you end with let's go? Did you? I trust you, I love you. Dang, where did I put it? I feel like I wrote it down somewhere.
I love you,
Let me see.
I trust you, I love you.
Oh no, I thank you, I love you, I trust you, let's go. Probably something like that.
I trust you, I love you, let's go. Thank you, I love you, I trust you, let's go. Thank you, I love you, I trust you, let's go. Yes, that feels so good. Yep. Thank you, I love you, I trust you, let's go. Because it literally is telling yourself, like, because again, there's the monkey mind. It's like this, like I had it when I didn't want to go downtown to Times Square. But I was just like, I love you, I trust you, I thank you, I love you, I trust you. Let's go. So you're thanking God, you're thanking the higher power that you actually have a breath, you actually are alive, right? Thank you, I love you. You have to tell yourself you love yourself. And that you trust yourself that whatever it is you're going to do it's going to be for the highest good for all people involved. And then it's like, well, let's go do that. Let's go do whatever it is. Thank you. I love you. I trust you. Let's go.
Oh, yes.
I do that. And I just have like all kinds of affirmations. And I just like talk to God and I just go, boom, this is what I want. That's what I have to do. We can do a whole nother show on how I manifested this apartment.
Yes. I want to know. Let me know. Look. All right. Well, thank you again, Kanene. It was beautiful talking with you as always.
Yes, my God. This has been amazing. You are Blexcellence personified. You are everything that people need to be.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I want to extend the same love and appreciation to you as well. I'm inspired by everything that you do and everything that you are. And I will continue to follow you. And hopefully we'll meet soon after this whole pandemic and our second lockdown. But you are a unicorn.
Where you're uptown, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm right above Harlem. So I'm in Washington Heights. Right above Harlem, though. Not too high.
Well, we can meet, the A train,
Yeah, definitely.
We can meet at Popeyes on Frederick Douglass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, are you close to Popeyes though? You're not close to Popeyes. Oh, but you're saying by the train. Okay, yeah.
I'm by Whole Foods.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
right.
Where I am.
Yeah, let's do something.
So I love this. This was like a slumber party.
I know. Well, thank you. Have a good night. Get some rest. Enjoy your balcony. Take care of that self-care for the weekend, and we will see each other soon.
Thank you kindly. Thank you kindly. This is an immense
honor.
Thanks,
everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for watching, everyone for tuning in, everyone for commenting, everyone for liking and sharing. Make this go viral.
Bye, y'all.